Gorgu had ingested enough evilness to remain in the guise of the Dungeon Lord for an extended period of time. But Thanos was also able to strengthen himself somewhat. Both opponents now faced one another in an implacable duel. Imagine here some quick camera cuts to the grim faces of the two opponents, like the ones you used to see in the anime series of your youth. The stare-down could fill out several volumes all by itself, but just for you, we've condensed that down to one line of dialogue. Then the two opponents began to throw wildly powerful missiles at each other's ears. But such an epic battle with unusual attacks and such took its toll, and both sides retreated for a short breather.
Men, despair not. It is time to prepare for the final battle. Fight at my side. Together, we will destroy evil once and for all!
This rousing speech, together with the threat of beatings in the case of non-compliance, served to mobilize Thanos' reaming heroes. It would certainly make sense for Talia to support Gorgu as well.
Really? I thought Gorgu would make short work of Thanos now. After all the stress of the previous mission. Is someone trying to grind out a little extra game time? But hey, fine, don't let anyone say I let evil down. I'll throw wave after wave of my creatures at Thanos if I have to. Up you get, you lazy bums. Pick yourselves up, build a dungeon, raise an army, and severely rearrange Thanos' teeth.
Ding dong, it's payday. You have unearthed a new area in the dungeon. Some of Tanis's willing helpers set out for the dungeon to attack the dungeon heart. It was probably a sensible idea to prevent them from doing so. There are enemies in your dungeon. payday. One of your creatures has died.
No!
The clash of the giants was at hand. They would meet over there.
Excellent. Good to know. Then I'll get the troops hurt and give them a taste of the leather. I mean, put the troops on alert and pull them together. Damn it. Can you believe that others need 3 days for something like this? Amateurs.
Your gold vein is nearly exhausted. Thanos and Gorgu had recovered enough and once again joined in fervent battle. A duel worthy of mention in the history books was in the offing. Gorgu was just getting a feel for what it was like to actually be the Dungeon Lord. He had meanwhile discovered additional powers. Thus, it was possible for him to heal himself on the one hand and to execute a powerful additional attack on the other. However, it took him a while to gather the strength for these skills.
The little rugrat really does have a few tricks up his sleeve. Wonderful! Those are just the things needed to smack Thanos right in the kisser. Forward, Gorgu! Kick the old man's butt!
Gorgu's regenerative ability was breathtaking. Some of his wounds quickly closed back up.
Faithful to me! Support me in my fight against evil!
Heroes set out to attack Gorgu. It was probably very sensible for the outwitted evil to take some countermeasures.
Like hell! Creatures to Gorgu! Support him in his fight against the good, evil, good? Ugh, I have no idea what Thanos is even supposed to represent anymore. Anyway, bash his head in, stick it in a blender and make yourself some cocktails.
The Dungeon Lord used a particularly powerful attack against Thanos. You've dug into a spider room. A gold vein has been mined out. Talia had once again kicked the bucket. Heroes fought against Gorgu in an attempt to defeat him. one of the Dungeon Lord's skills was once again available for use. Gorgu used his most powerful blow in the fight against Tanos.
Oh, I've been resurrected. Thank you.
Both Gorgu and Tanos withdrew yet again to recuperate. Talia and the army training evil took advantage of this brief respite to regroup. A gold vein has been mined out. Merciless Evil's armies had destroyed one of the bases set up by Tanos' faithful. This would probably slow them down a bit, but at the same time, it spurred them on even more. Crazy fanatics.
Payday.
Another base belonging to Tanos' faithful was destroyed.
Enemies have entered the dungeon.
One of your creatures has died. Another base belonging to Tanos' faithful was destroyed. payday. Creatures are collecting their pay. Dungeon Lord Gorgu and Tanos were about to meet again. This epic battle would take place on that as yet undistinguished field there.
Excellent! Then let's get ready to give that damn paladin wannabe a hot reception. And I ain't talking tasty hot beverages either.
Payday! Creatures are collecting their pay. Another base belonging to Tanos' faithful was destroyed. Your little snots have completely mined out a gold vein. Tanos and Gorgu faced each other again, ready for another epic duel. One of the Dungeon Lord's skills was once again available. Tanos' followers also planned to support their leader in battle. Gorgu's self-healing powers kicked in. A few heroes tried to beat Gorgu up. The Dungeon Lord used a particularly powerful attack against Tanos. Once again, Tanos and Gorgu retreated. Whether it was to catch their breath or whether they went out for a coffee together is unknown.
Payday.
Your little snots have completely mined out a gold vein. Another battle between Tanos and Dungeon Lord Gorgu was brewing. The ruthless evil made its preparations. enemies have entered the dungeon.
It's payday.
Tanos and Gorgu appeared once again, ready to face one another in a third battle. I hope this was the finale, as we're running out of battlefields. One of the Dungeon Lord's skills was once again available for use. Gorgu's regenerative ability was breathtaking. Some of his wounds quickly closed back up. Some of Tanos's fanatical followers set out to help their leader. Gorgu used his most powerful blow in the fight against Tanos. Some of the heroes struck at Gorgu with fervor.
This can't be true. Good must triumph.
Ha! Take that, old man. At first, I thought it was stupid of Tristan to resurrect you, but I've reconsidered. You are such a crazy frickin' scumbag that you really do deserve to die twice for this.
But with the last of his strength, Tanos managed to use the Gauntlet of Finitude. What happened next is so blatant that we have to show it in a cutscene. The battle between Tanos and Dungeon Lord Gorgu raged. Both opponents assumed their best anime fighting poses, sized up their opponent, and then exchanged blows, magic missiles, and/or telepathic insults. But even though the fight dragged on due to Gorgu's inexperience, the end was predestined. Tanos was forced further and further into the defensive. In his distress, Tanos saw himself with only one remaining option. He took the stones of finitude and stuffed them into his mouth. Tanos was bathed in an unnatural light, with flames rising from his eyes. He grew and grew as his muscles swelled and his body deformed. This discharge hurled the stones of finitude away yet again and scattered them in all directions. In his new form, Tanos was now significantly stronger than the inexperienced Gorgu, and with one mighty blow, the mutation hurled the Dungeon Lord in training to the side. Then the creature turned towards Tanya. its eyes began to flash. Destructive laser beams, yes, that's really what it says here, shot out of its eyes toward the Dark Elf to destroy her. But this was the moment for heroes, and so Tristan pushed his stepsister Talia aside, out of the line of fire. So now, instead of Talia, Tristan was scorched by Tanos's laser eyes. Talia had no time to check on her stepbrother, but fled as fast as she could.